Hey you witches, how you doing? Welcome back to another video. Today I want to talk a little bit about incorporating ancestry into your witchcraft practice. We're going to talk a little bit about why you might want to do that, and then how, like actual tips and tricks on how I've chosen, things I've done to incorporate my ancestry into my witchcraft practice. So before we get into it, for those of you who are new around here, my name is Taya. Welcome to the channel. We talk about all things witchcraft and especially traditional witchcraft. That's sort of where my heart lies, and this is sort of a traditional witchcraft-based video. And for those of you who are returning viewers, maybe coming in from another video, welcome back. I so appreciate the support. And all of you, please consider subscribing. It's a really great way to help us build the channel. So, incorporating ancestry. The first thing I want to address, because I know some of you are asking it, is why would I want to do that? Now, I am speaking from a traditional witchcraft background, specifically, right, we practice folkloric witchcraft, and so a lot of it ties back to that actual, right, the land from which you come, your ancestral practices. Now, the other thing is that I am a Canadian, and I am a white resident of North America. I am one of the, a descendant of the white colonizers, so I live on stolen land. And I can't use the indigenous folklore of the place in which I live. So it creates a bit of a sticky situation for us here in North America. And I think oftentimes this gets kind of overlooked by traditional crafters from other parts of the world. And they're like, why are you looking to, you're Canadian, why are you looking to Scotland to build your practice? Like, just build it on Canadian practices. Canada's really new. And there aren't, we don't have, our culture in North America is capitalism. It is very much, our culture is based on, you turn 16, you get a car, and oh yeah, you get to work, and now you're 18 and you can drink and you can drive, and you can start contributing as a member of society, and it's about giving gifts, and it's about the commercialization, it's consumerism and capitalism, and it's a really weird place to live sometimes. And so when we're looking to build a practice, we need to look to our country of origin, to our ancestors' country of origin. And then what we do is we look at that ancestry, we pull it into our practice, and then we anchor it in the land upon which we live, which is a whole another video. So how do you do this? How do you incorporate your ancestry into your actual witchcraft practice? I'm going to use my practices as an example. So I am Scottish. I'm half Scottish. My father's father and my mother's father are both Scottish. My father's mother is Polish, and my mother's mother is like a rando mix. They came very early through the States, so they're a mix of German, Dutch, and a lot of British. So predominantly I'm Scottish. By DNA test, my newest number is 49% Scottish, which rounds off with both of my grandfathers being Scottish. And I was raised being told, yeah, you have Scottish ancestry. So we're going to use that. That's what I build my practice on, and that's what we'll use as examples as we go through. So how do you incorporate? How do you actually incorporate your ancestry? We'll start with a few really obvious ones, and then we'll move into some more entertaining ones. The first one is folk magic, using the folk magic of your ancestors. So for me, from Scotland, a lot of it is very much protective magic. It's rowan berries and red thread. It is literally stringing rowan berries on red thread and hanging them in your window as a protective charm, wearing them on your body as a protective charm. There's all kinds of interesting ones. I have a really great book. It's called The Carmina Gadelica, and it is a book of the hymns and chants and incantations of the Scottish Highlands and Islands. So, right, finding that traditional folk magic. The second one is working with the deities and spirits of your ancestors. So, being of Scottish origin, I could work with Saint Bridget. There is a huge, what is that called? Amalgamation? No. A huge tie-in between Catholic and folk practices. being Catholic and folk practices. So again, I could work with the saints, Saint Bridget being a really big one in Scotland. Or I could work with the goddess Bridget. I could work with Morgan. I could work with the Cailleach. That is who I choose to work with, is the Cailleach. And when you're working with these deities and spirits of your ancestors, you want to make culturally appropriate offerings. So to the Cailleach, that is sloe gin or whiskey or infused alcohols, bones, rowan berries, baked goods, which we'll talk about in a second, butter and milk, or water. Because she is a goddess, or not so much a goddess, she's like a land spirit. She's like a deity. She's like the original ancestor of us all. She's very, very old. I feel goddess just isn't the right term for her. She's like a land spirit. And, but she is a spirit of the land, or represented by rocks, or of wells and holy wells and watery places. So pouring water over rocks is another really appropriate offering to the Cailleach. So you could have a little dish of rocks and pour some water over that, however often, as an offering to her. Number 3 is obviously stories and folklore, right? Local fairy tales, children's stories, mythology, right? All of those great sort of documented bits of literature that come from your ancestors. Number 4, festivals and holy days. So I think a lot of us will celebrate like the Wiccan Wheel of the Year, and that's fine. Even in a traditional witchcraft practice, a lot of us still might use that Wheel of the Year. But you can also add in other things. So for me, the ones I really focus on are the fire festivals, which is Imbolc, Beltane, Lunasa, and Samhain. Those are the 4 fire festivals, of our Celtic fire festivals, which are based on the agricultural cycle. Hogmanay, which is their New Year's celebration in Scotland. And there are certain sort of little rites and rituals that go around Hogmanay. There's Robbie Burns Day, which is a national day of celebrating Robbie Burns, who is an acclaimed Scottish poet. The La Cailleach, Old Hag's Day, when we celebrate Sheila Nagig and the Cailleach. So there's all these kind of extra, you can pull in these sort of extra days and holy days and festivals and things into your own Wheel of the Year. The next one is food. So I look ancestrally, what were the Scots doing? They were baking bannocks and oatcakes. That was a staple of their diet. So I bake bannocks, and I use them when I do my hoozle, when I do my sacrificial meal, or some of you might do like cakes and ale. I use bannocks in my practice. I use bannocks and infused alcohol that are alcohols infused with berries that I grow in my backyard. Again, it ties it back to my ancestral practices, right? Music, right? Listen to the music of your people. So I love pipe and drum bands from Scotland. If you like pipe and drum bands, check out Clanadonia. Amazing. They're like a modern pipe and drum band. They're kind of a street band. They play a lot at like festivals and open air venues, and they are amazing. Just look them up on YouTube. You can get their actual albums on Bandcamp, but check them out. Like, just YouTube it. They're so good. But right, listening to that music, I'll listen to it. I'll put in earbuds when I'm working a ritual. If I'm like down in my basement and I'm in the house and I don't want to listen to, the dog scuffling upstairs and the ping of the heater going off, and I'll put in my headphones and just listen to, like, just slowly, I'll put on in sort of background level pipe and drum music, or I'll listen to it when I'm just sitting working folk magic, that kind of a thing. I love it. Number 7, language. What language did your ancestors speak? So for me, I am learning Scots Gaelic. It's really awesome. I'm doing it through Duolingo, so I know it's not, super awesome. But I'm doing it through Duolingo, and then I will be taking some courses starting in the fall, some actual courses to really learn like the grammar and the structure and everything. But right now I'm doing it through Duolingo, and I do it actually every day. I think I'm at 82 days on Duolingo straight, learning Gaelic. And I also do that as like an offering to my ancestors, one in particular who I choose to work with, and also as an offering to the Kaliak, right? Learning an ancestral language. Number 8 is historical dress. Incorporate that into your ritual gear. So, excuse me. So from Scotland, I choose to incorporate some of my clan tartan into my ritual gear, right? But if you look at cultures across the world, they have beautiful pieces of clothing and costuming from the past. What can you pull into your practice? You don't have to be like head to toe decked out, but you could pull in a few pieces that are sort of, I want to say reminiscent, but I know that's not the word, that are appropriate to your ancestral background. And then finally, number 9 I have is tools. So what kind of tools did your ancestors use? From Scotland, I look at the Highlanders carried with them 2 blades, the scian-dubh, which is literally translated as the black knife, and a dirk, which is like a longer, more like a dagger style, and it tapers off to a fine point. And they carried those with them for protection, for utilitarian means, for eating, for like all kinds of different things. And so those are 2 blades that I can incorporate into my actual witchcraft practice. I can use them as just like a regular blade. I can use as an athame to direct energy, whatever. There's lots of different uses for blades in our witchcraft, right? And I really got turned on to that by watching, for me, out of Scotland, right, a channel called Fan Dabby Dozy. Awesome dude. And he is actually a historical reenactor, if you will. He goes and actually recreates Highland treks, like the Highlanders would have taken across the land as they would have traveled, and he recreates their dress, their tools, their, like everything from scratch. Like he makes it like they would have made it, and then he actually takes journeys across the heaths and the mountains and stuff, and he actually goes up and makes these treks using all of this traditional gear that he's crafted himself. And so it's a great way to learn about what exactly my ancestors would have been doing. And I think there's lots of, in any culture, there's lots of sort of those, I want to call them reenactors, but it's more serious than that. They're not just doing it for fun. Like they're actually kind of, academically doing this. So again, incorporating those tools that maybe were used by your ancestors. So yeah, I don't want to go on too long. That's just some ideas on how you can incorporate your ancestry into your actual practices. I hope that gave you some good ideas. And it's really about creating a deeper connection to our ancestry and our ancestors through our witchcraft practice, which in turn deepens our witchcraft practice. So do you incorporate any ancestral practices? I'd love to hear what you do. I'm sure there's a ton of other ways that you can do this. Let me know what, if I missed anything, leave us a comment. I'd love to hear what you guys think. And otherwise, yeah, that's our video for today. Thank you so much for hanging out, and we'll catch you in the next one. Mwah! Thanks so much, you guys.